Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to talk about the best science-based exercises for massive growth. Before I get into that topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. So, noticing floating around the YouTube toilet bowl some best science-based exercises for muscle growth. So I thought I would dive into this topic. If you're looking for specific exercises, you're not going to find it here. The reason being, if you look at the content of any of the top hypertrophy experts, they basically are going to align with me in that there are no best exercises for hypertrophy, meaning there's no science-based, this exercise is better than that. It's not as simple as that. It's not as dumbed down as that, not to offend your favorite YouTuber, but it's not as dumbed down as that. It's a little bit more complicated and a little bit more free-ranging, a little bit more open. Here's what I mean. If you want the best science to work a body part, there's a couple things you need to think about. Number one is pragmatism. Like, you can't go into a workout and just do all compound movements. That's not only unnecessary, it's going to beat up your body over time. You're going to risk overuse injuries. And if you look at the time involved that it takes to build muscle, years, 3 to 10 years, depending on your goals, it's just not a sustainable, reasonable process. So the first thing we have to look at is pragmatism. And the second thing we have to look at when it comes to science-based is the research that we've been seeing lately, that a variety of exercises is actually a little bit better for hypertrophy or the muscle building process. So pragmatism, we just touched on that a little bit. You can't do all compound movements. So regardless of whether you're doing a full body, upper, lower, or body part split or whatever, you have to look at weekly volume. You have to look at weekly set volume with the understanding that is focused on progressive overload in some way, shape, or form, and that we are practicing hard but safe sets. Hard sets means you're trying to get the most out of them. They have a progression approach, etc. Now, regardless of how you're training, right? You don't want to go and just do squats. Number one, it's unnecessary. Number two, it's not the brightest idea for hypertrophy. It's just not, because, again, we're going to touch on that shortly, exercise variety. What you typically want to do, and this is how I structure things, is you want to do your big hitter, right? You want to do your big compound movement. And then you want to have a secondary compound movement. In many cases, it's going to be a dumbbell variety. And if we're talking science-based, there's a lot of indication that dumbbell exercises may be better for hypertrophy than barbell. That doesn't mean barbell exercises are shit, so don't get your panties all in a bunch and make stupid comments. I'm not saying barbell exercises are shit. I'm saying there's some good indication that dumbbell exercises may be better for hypertrophy than barbell. So barbells might be up here and dumbbells might be up here. Good and gooderer, so don't get all upset. So it's a good idea, if we're talking science-based, to do a barbell compound, maybe a dumbbell compound, maybe drop down from there to do some form of a body weight exercise, like a dip. For my clients, we do dips and push-up supersets. And then you can move on to machines and cables. So we have a broad exercise selection, which is good. And we're structuring our exercises so we don't beat the living crap out of our body during the week with one exercise type over and over again, which is, quite frankly, the curse that's been taking place in the muscle building realm over the last 10 years. So we have a structure in place where we go from super intense, need to be technically proficient, like a barbell squat, and then you could move on to a leg press or a hack squat, leg extension, and then you got RDLs and leg curls in the mix or whatever. For chest, we talked about it, a barbell variation, a dumbbell variation, maybe dips and push-ups, machine chest press, and maybe an isolation exercise or something like that. So pragmatism. We have to structure it so we don't beat the living crap out of the body. If you look at all the cumulative work you're going to do over the course of a week, right? For every body part, And let's say you're training 4 days a week at about 18 sets per day, 18 hard sets per day. And if you can get beyond 18 hard sets per day, you're probably not working hard enough. But that's 70 to 72 sets. If they're 90% compound movements, that's going to be extremely challenging. Your warm-ups are going to be longer, and it's probably going to beat the crap out of your body over the course of 3 to 10 years. Again, the time it takes to build muscle. So chill. So if we're talking science-based, it has to be a little based in pragmatism. All right, so science-based. When it comes to exercise selection, you see these videos like the 3 most science-based exercises for muscle building. Come on now, let's push that aside, because what we know now, the science and the meta-analysis and the way we are understanding hypertrophy or the muscle building process is that it's better to have a few more exercises to target a muscle group than a few less. And what we're also learning is that regional hypertrophy seems to be a real thing. So a diversity, if you're trying to get the biggest muscle, it stands to reason that you should do a little bit more exercise variety rather than a little bit less. If you're doing only one, you're not taking full advantage of the possibility of regional hypertrophy, and you're not taking advantage of the science that multiple exercises might be a little bit better than minimal. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're only doing one exercise per week for your legs, squats, then you're probably not doing enough, right? But squats are king, right? How many times have you seen somebody say, I'm doing a lot of squats, but I'm not seeing really great quad growth? One of the reasons is you probably should be doing multiple exercises like squats and leg press or hack squats, leg extensions, lunges, Bulgarian split squats, or whatever. That's a better way. That's science-based. You have diversity and you have more than one. You're not obsessed with one exercise to rule them all. So are there some exercises better than others? Well, obviously there's some exercises that are more worthy of consideration, right? The big hitters. If you're talking legs, you're talking about squats and leg press and hack squats and those sorts of things. You're seeking the best possible choices rather than the weakest possible choices. But when it comes to an individual, the magic of hypertrophy is getting into the gym and saying, I tried both leg presses and I tried hack squats. But on leg presses, my lower back's hurting and this, that, the other thing. But when I do hack squats, I don't have that issue. So what I talk about on this channel, evolving your training based on needs, is grounded in this. There are no best exercises, science-based best exercises. Videos like that are really just clickbait, or if you're Greg Doucette's, spews for views, cough, I'm not going to mention Ryan Humiston's name. But the science best comes down to pragmatism, using the best possible pool of exercises, getting in the gym, seeing how it works for you, and making changes where you need to make changes. This doesn't involve avoiding quality exercises because they're too hard, right? Because you're a pussy, right? You don't get to go into the gym and go, I tried squats and I didn't like them because I'm a pussy, right? That's not how you determine exercises, right? If something's hurting your elbow, hurting your back, whatever, or you can feel your quads more on hack squats than leg press or whatever, then use a hack squat because you're using a reasonable choice. So that's pretty much what the science tells us. Use a variety of exercises. You don't have to do 700 exercises per week. But what I would often do week in and week out is, like on chest, for example, the way I program things over the years is I would alternate every other week. Week 1 would be flat bench, and week 2 I'd start out with inclined flat bench. And then my secondary exercise week 1 would be inclined dumbbell, and my secondary exercise in week 2 would be flat bench dumbbell. So I'm getting in some variations. And then I would back it up with dips and, push-ups and different isolation exercises, etc. So you can alternate every other week as a means to get in some more exercise choices. And that's probably wise when it comes to science-based exercise selection. So when we talk about science-based, if anybody's telling you you have to do these 3 exercises, they're full of steaming shit balls. They're full of steaming shit balls because they're just trying to do spews for views. They're trying to get you to, hey, I got the 3 science-based exercises. Bullshit. Bullshit. A big bowl of bullshit, right? We know it has to be pragmatic, and we know that it has to be based on how you feel in the gym, evolution of training, and we know that you have to start with a pool of good quality exercises as we know them and evolve them based on needs. And we know that it's good to have a little bit more when it comes to science-based training, a little bit more of variety rather than a little bit less or smaller variety. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Want one of these? Over at my website, superlivingtoday.com.